Eco TV viewers. Good afternoon to some of you, those that are watching us in the country and in the diaspora. My name is Larry Sise. We are back for episode 10 of The Gambia We Want. With me today is my colleague Lamin Mani. Let's begin by saying that all political parties engage in fundraising activities. But the fundraising activity that we saw the NPP conduct at the Carabao Conference Center speaks volumes. One, you had managing directors and heads of government agencies visibly attending a political event. Two, the amount of money, public money that they spend sponsoring tables is also glaring. And JRTS beaming the fundraiser live from start to finish is another key issue. I want us to put all of this into context. When the president says we are supported by businessmen in terms of building bureaus and raising funds for his party, he's not joking. The business community is firmly in NPP's corner. So much so that it is affecting our standard of living on the streets. Just look at the fact that this government in 8 years hasn't been able to put a handle on the price structure of commodities in this country. In contrast, Jonai Faye and Usman Sonko in Senegal, people keep saying, but Senegal, I say, well, for some of these issues, we have to contrast them because they came and within a year, they had a meeting with the business community. They stabilized the prices. And Senegal, no businessman just gets up now and increases prices of anything. The government has inspectors doing it. But when the private sector is putting this kind of money in a political party, that political party will be obliged because it's a patronage system. You cannot say anything to them, do anything to them. A good case in point this morning is cement. The person who is ordering cement has been handed a monopoly by the government. And whether they like it or not, agree with it or not, the marketing of cement in this country has been monopolized. And as a result, there are shortages of cement. The price keeps increasing. I think today I saw something like $400 to a bag of cement. If all of these things are true, then it behooves voters. There is a correlation between the business community and the ruling NPP party because of the amount of money these individuals are putting into the party in its fundraising. And you have to also link it to the 100 million that the central bank gave to these companies. Yep. All of them are visibly or silently putting money into this party. So we have an issue with that, and it's a serious ethical issue.
Exactly. It's serious in the sense that government is giving priority to some business people in the country to the detriment of the rest of the country. So you scratch my back, I scratch your back in return. So you give them money, they do what they want with the money, and they kick back part of it, in profits and in support. If the business community is giving so much money to the ruling party, of course they will determine how they get that money back. These guys are not philanthropists.
It's not free money.
We're here to make money. And there's no free lunch anyway. When they give you money, they're going to recoup it somehow. How do they recoup it? You give them a free hand to raise their prices the way they want to. And then they'll say, oh, it's a free market. The free market? There's nothing like a free market. A market is regulated to a certain point. You don't let the free market go its way because capitalism just runs wild. So you have to put in some guardrails so they don't go beyond what is reasonable. And that is why precisely they don't want to give monopoly to anybody. or to any group of people, because if you give them monopoly, you are at their mercy. They do what they want when they want it and how they want it. When you give, as you just mentioned, the cement issue, we had a lot of cement importers in this country, young people who invested in cement importation from our next door neighbor, Senegal, an ECOWAS member, and who is willing to sell cement to us, to our young folk to make money. You deprive all of them of that opportunity, and you hand the monopoly over to one person. What do you expect? This is going to happen. So there's going to be shortage on the market, organized or not. It might be just because their ships are delayed somewhere, or it's because they are holding something to be able. God knows why, but there is a shortage of cement. Yep. Today I heard that a 53,000 ton ship or whatever has got into port, and cement will be available soon. But the point is, you allow other people to go in and compete with that man, to be able to bring in cement, make a living for themselves, have a free market, but competition in that market. Competition is salutary. If you have competition, the prices go down. You have a monopoly, the guy does what he wants. So, but when you have somebody you give so much leeway to, because they're giving you money somehow, they're patronizing you, they're funding your party. I heard one of their people say that at the fundraising, the platinum tables were going for $250,000 per table. That's $250,000 per table. Mm. Anybody who gives you that kind of money is going to find a way of recouping it, right? But more shockingly, when you have government institutions going in there and splashing taxpayer money, money that all of us pay, and then you hand it over to a political party, that is not only unethical, it's criminal. It's criminal because you do not have, one, the right as a civil servant to be prominent in politics. The GO doesn't allow it.
In fact, just quote GO, GO 030104.
Exactly.
GO 030104.
I know, exactly. Which precisely prevents that.
Yes.
That you have the right to your political opinion, etc., but you do not have the right to manifest that in public. So that is the GO. And in that particular GO, if you are head of an institution, it's even stronger for you. You are supposed to be neutral, equidistant from all the political parties.
And you should be the one to implement to ensure that the regulation
is followed by the members of your department or agency.
Yes.
Now, if you take our money and you give it to a public institution, to a political party, what authority do you have to do that? You don't have any authority. But the sad thing is, Parliament will be sitting there and seeing that nobody will say anything. And nobody talks about it except a few opposition parties, including UDP. So this should not happen. They are not entitled to go by tables at a political rally or a political event or a political fundraising event to make money for the ruling party. None of those people would dare come and buy a table at the UDP fundraiser.
Yeah.
We have organized 3 now. Not once did they come anywhere near the UDP, let alone buy a table and be seen to be at a UDP fundraiser.
At a table at a cost of $250,000.
Ours were going for, I think, 50,000.
Yeah.
But none of them dared to come and buy a table.
Yeah.
Not even to be seen there, let alone buy a table. GRTS, the public radio and television station, never comes near any UDP event or any other opposition party for that matter. Yet they would beam the NPP fundraiser from start to finish. What does that say of our democracy?
Yeah.
What does that say of our public institutions? What does that say of the independence or required independence of GRTS? This is why when there's a regime change, there is a massacre. Heads roll because they cannot keep their integrity and their dignity. You should be able to stay away from those kind of positions. If you don't, then give the same treatment to all the political parties. But you can't give it just to government. 2021 presidential elections, even our campaign messaging, we find it difficult to run it through GRTS.
It's still the same.
Because until the very last minute, when the GRTS was required by law to give a certain amount of military effort, that's what they gave it to us. But we could not have any campaign event on GRTS or QTV or any of those TVs. We could not.
And it hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed. And now they have the guts to go beam the Youth NPP fundraiser from beginning to end.
They did.
That is unethical, is criminal, is unpatriotic.
You know, Lamin, I think we can close this by saying takeaway messages. What this particular fundraiser has shown is that this government has a blatant, unapologetic use of state resources.
Yeah.
A blatant, unapologetic use of state resources to
misuse of
state resources for their own political gain. Issue number 2 for takeaway, they have also weaponized state resources for partisan gain. State resources have been weaponized. And when I say state resources, I mean GRTS, I mean all the agencies that attended, I mean the security services, and everything has been weaponized to enhance NPP's politics. The third takeaway is that the fact that this government gave $100 million US to 10 business entities, and these business entities ended up buying tables at a fundraiser, is a classic example of state capture. These people have captured our state, and there is no way we can excuse that. And for those managing directors and heads of government institutions that were seen in this thing, you are in violation of GO 03104. GO 03104. You are in total violation of that GO, and it should not have happened. Anywhere else, you would have been surcharged and held personally accountable for the amount spent at that event. We go to issue number 2.
Before you just go there, you know, this is what Mr. Dawo has been saying. He says when there is a change of government, there is absolutely no reason why the top civil servants and
should be changed.
But that is dependent on you, the public servant, you, the civil servant, doing the right thing. If you do that when there's a change of government, you don't need to change you. You have been doing your job and doing it in the most professional manner, then you don't need to touch anything. But if you do otherwise, well, you better expect that there will be consequences. So that's where we are.
Yeah, state capture, blatant use of state resources, it's all part of this government's ambit of things to do. Issue number 2, that's your favorite area, outstanding payments to farmers. Last week we talked about it. We are talking about it again because it's still an issue. And the Ministry of Agriculture is characteristically silent about it. Let us remind the government again that the rainy season is just a month away. Under normal circumstances, the rainy season would have started in May or June. So it's taking this government 1 year to pay certain farmers. We are not saying all the farmers, but to pay certain farmers. And I saw farmers complaining on social media, one saying they owe him $500,000, another one saying they owe him $700,000. Tobaski is coming, they have not yet been paid. I think we should just address this issue to say that this is actually more than dereliction of duty. It is blatantly uncalled for. When farmers give you their nuts, it shouldn't take you 1 year to pay them, especially when you have transacted that nut and you have the money somewhere. It is not done, it is criminal, and it should be condemned in the strongest possible terms.
This is the only country, I think, where that sort of thing can happen and, you know, people walk away scot-free. Because these things are budgeted for. Money is set aside for that. So the farmers get their due. You're not doing them any favor. It's a business transaction, a commercial transaction. They come to sell their groundnuts to you, you buy them, you pay them. You're not even supposed to take it on loan or give them, promissory notes. But if you do, you're supposed to redeem those notes as quickly as possible so that they can go about their business as well. These are people who spend 4, 5, 6 months in the year toiling in the rain and in the sun, trying to make a living for themselves and their families. When the season is over and they want to sell their products, their produce in this case, you take forever to pay them. You take all your time to pay them. And when you pay them, now you impose on them to go through a payment structure that they're not familiar with.
And that is expensive also.
Exactly. That comes at a cost for them. They never ask for that. Why do you have to pay them to kill money? Precisely. Why? Why can't you pay them directly with the money? They tell you, oh, no, it's because of security reasons. People have been paid for as long as the Gambia has been the Gambia. They have been paid
from the colonial times.
Yes. So if you think that there is a risk, well, you have security forces for that. That's their job.
No, but for me, that's a lame excuse.
Exactly. Why?
They are just giving money a business.
A business, exactly. And that's undue. So that should not have happened. But whatever the case, it's just unconscionable that after months of waiting, these people have not yet been paid when the next rainy season is just days or weeks away.
Yeah.
How do they buy their seeds? How do they buy their fertilizers? How do they buy implements? You don't give them any implements. You don't give them any seeds for free. You don't give them any fertilizer. They've got to pay for that.
And you hardly plow their farms and rice fields for
not even hardly, you never do. How do you explain that you hold on to their money for that long? They need their money to go about their business. They need their money to feed their family, to pay the school fees of their children, to pay for the medical bills when they arise, etc. They need to do all of that. For God's sake, pay them their money. But what is infuriating is that corruption in this country has been so much normalized that these people don't bother. Oh, it's okay, now they will get paid. Any of those people who goes 2 weeks without his or her salary will be kicking up dust everywhere. But it's okay for them to keep these poor farmers months and like that without getting their money that they're entitled to. As you said, when you've sold their nuts, the groundnuts, you've made money from it, but to keep the money, they should pay those people that money with interest on top of it. Because whatever money they've made, when they receive that money for those groundnuts, and they don't use them to pay these people, it's lying in a bank, they're making interest on that money. When they sell the groundnuts that they pick from those people, and the money is lying somewhere, they're making interest on that money. That interest goes to who? It should be plowed back to the farmer. Whatever interest they make on the money that they didn't pay them, whatever interest they make on the groundnuts that they took from them and sold and made proceeds from it, the interest from those two should be paid to the farmers. Then they probably go into some private pocket somewhere.
I call it entrenched systemic corruption.
Exactly.
It's entrenched.
So could you fire ban? Fire ban.
We do the English and then come to Mandinka.
Right, okay.
I think. Now let's go to the issuance of ID cards in Mauritania or anywhere outside of the country. UDP has always been saying since our formation in 1996 that this country, what it needs are free, fair, transparent elections so that Gambians can be given the opportunity to select who leads them at all levels, whether it is local government, central government, the presidency. Free, fair elections are at the heart of the stability and security of a country. It's a matter of national security and safety of the country and the citizens of that country. Given these ID cards out in Mauritania, and a promise was made to go to Gabon, and there are also indications that in the URR, in those outlying areas, certain communities are being issued ID cards. what we want to re-emphasize again and again and again is what Mama Kande has once said in one of his meetings in Soma. What did he say? He says there is a cliche in this country that it's the politicians who are going to light up and burn up this country. He says, but that is not true. The entity that is going to light up this country is the IEC. They need to give us free, fair, transparent elections.
Absolutely.
Let the will of the people be the mantle that the IEC functions with. We are of the view that these elections have never been free, fair, and transparent. If they are free, fair, and transparent, the will of the Gambian people would have been met, and we would not have been in the situation that we are in. Finally, before I hand over to you, Lami, I have always said in different platforms that the Barrow government has 3 strategies for their survival. Strategy number 1 is to rig the elections, steal the elections. Masembe has shown that that may be very difficult for them to do. The strategy number 2 is also to buy the elections. They have the money. This is why the gala will pay that kind of money. They have the money to buy the elections. Again, Masembe has shown that that too is going to be very difficult for them. My third strategy, as far as my assessment is concerned, is that when we go to elections and he loses, he's not likely to give power. Normally, there won't be a normal transition. Mm-hmm. It will be more like Jammeh in 2016. And that is because the level and the extent of corruption that is in this country, people know there is massive corruption in this country. And those who say it is speculation, well, time will tell if it is speculation or not. But for me, these are the 3 strategies that he has in order to perpetuate himself, because leaving office under the condition. You know, I also said once that Barrow's corruption will make Jammeh's corruption look like child's play. Mm-hmm. And that is playing out in front of us. There is unmitigated corruption everywhere, and they know, people know. So the issue is, how do we remain in power? One of the things that will allow him to remain in power are those 3 things that I have said: stealing the election, buying the elections, creating the conditions for chaos to happen.
Yeah, I mean, whichever way you cut it, this government is embroiled in widespread corruption, widespread abuse of the law and the rights of the Gambian people. Our Citizenship and Nationality Act is clear about where and how to issue ID cards.
What are called strategic national documents.
And the issuance is here in the Gambia. Okay? Section 14, 15, 17 are clear about it. The national identity card should be issued here in the Gambia to any Gambian who has fulfilled the conditions of nationality. And in the Gambia, there are 3 basically. You are born of at least 1 parent, you are married to a Gambian and you naturalize as a Gambian, or you go seek the nationality through naturalization.
Yeah.
Because normally, for devolution of nationality, usually these are the cases. And in law, we call the one where it's by blood, your sangi, the blood. And the other one, your soli, where is the land. If you're born in the country, you acquire nationality, like in the US. But we don't have it in the Gambia. Is you are either born of at least 1 Gambian parent, or you marry a Gambian, or you naturalize. These are the 3 methods we have. So anybody who can prove that in the country here will have his nationality recognized and the ID cards issued. When there is doubt, because usually they would ask you to bring the ID cards of one of your parents at least, or show a marriage certificate which has entitled you to become a Gambian national, or because that also you have to go through the normal procedures to become a national after marrying a Gambian, or naturalization. if you go do this abroad, one, you violate the law, which says it should be issued here. Two, you might find it extremely difficult to be able to determine the person's nationality. If that person tells you, well, I've lost my ID card and my passport or whatever,
I don't have an ID card, period.
Yeah, how do you verify this person's nationality? Just by his word? Because, you see, the reason we have it here is also we have the databases here. So when you need to go to those databases, you can go there. When you need to go to the witnesses, you go there. And the law says that, and sometimes you are seeing violation of that even in the immigration department. You're supposed to go to a registrar who is appointed and who goes through, who does the verification, etc. Once the verification is done, you are given your papers. This is what's supposed to happen. So you are not entitled to go get it abroad. The excuse they give for issue national identity cards abroad is that all these people have been living there, they have been harassed by the local authorities, they need documents. That's not true. And that is a lame excuse.
The embassy is there to take care of it.
Yes, the embassy normally would give them documents in there. These are the consular cards. With those consular cards, they can go and have their documents established and prepared in the host country. So they don't need an ID card for that. If they are traveling home, the consular card will bring them home, one. Yeah. Two, they can even get, in addition to that, what I call emergency travel documents, which will bring them home. And of course, if you have a national ID card, you can be issued a passport abroad, because the passport can be issued abroad if your nationality has been confirmed in the Gambia. So there is absolutely no reason why you would go give those ID cards abroad unless you're preparing some fraud.
Yep.
And that is what is being prepared here for the elections in 2026. And you know, we have been doing our homework also on this, and we're not taking this lightly. One of the countries they plan to go to, probably even there already, Gabon. Yeah. The consul in Gabon is the brother to one of their main supporters here. We will give the name next time. Yeah. But the consul in Gabon is the brother to one of their main supporters here, one of the business people supporting them. Yeah.
And the deputy head of mission in Mauritania is a publicly avowed supporter of APRC.
Exactly. So this is the guys who have been going out to tell everybody, come and get your cards, we'll get your cards if you don't have your documents.
There is a list being shown on social media, a list of all the ID cards that have been issued in Mauritania. Yep. It is somewhere doing the rounds in social media, and people are aware of it. Again, the bottom line is there should be serious election integrity in this country, and election integrity means free, fair, transparent elections, so people can choose who they want
to be their leader.
Be their leader.
And as you said, that is upon the IEC. You just quoted Mama Kande, and he's absolutely right. I like his consistency, Mama
Yes,
Kande.
he's very consistent.
I like his consistency. You know, he keeps on the same issues and keeps, you know, he doesn't tell you one thing today and tell you the other thing, something else tomorrow. I like that consistency. And he has been very clear on that. The people who are probably trying to burn this country down are IEC. Yeah. Through their politicians. By the way, the 300 million or whatever, which was paid into their accounts, where is that money? Yeah. What happened to that issue as well? Yeah. It has just died down? Is it 300 million or 30 million? I can't even remember. Tens of millions of dollars is paid.
It's 300 million.
Okay. Where is that money? Where is the audit on that? That points to their corruption in IEC. No ministry gets the salary of the staff paid to the minister or to the permanent secretary to pay them. Yeah. The money is paid from the accountant general's office. So why would IEC pay money into the accounts of the commissioners, and then they tell you, oh, so needs to take care of election operations? Election operations should be paid from a central account, not from the accounts of the commissioners.
And then the auditors come, you refuse to give them your
documentation to prove
that
exactly, and your bank access to your bank accounts, you don't want to do that. So all of these things are happening in plain sight, and IEC is sitting there watching it and doing nothing about it. But as you said again, my assembly has scared them out of their wits. They have seen that the election results will be available as soon as the elections are closed. So they won't be able to go ahead now and manufacture the results like they did in 2021. So they're scared. Then the election results will be announced shortly after the ballot boxes close. The voting closes.
Through on-the-spot counting.
On-the-spot counting, and the information will be available to everybody half an hour after the ballot
boxes should not be transported anywhere outside.
They will not be transported. The counting is on the spot. We get our results and we publish them. So they're scared of that. We did it in Masembe. And they tried to buy elections in Masembe to the inducements. The Masembe people and the Kian people told them, Jannen Kianti. They showed it to them. You can bring the money is stolen from us and we want to recycle that to us to buy our integrity, bring it, it's our money. Put it on. They took the money, did what they wanted, and they went to vote for UDP because that's where their heart is, because they know that is the party which will take care of them, not this bunch of people who are just siphoning the public resources away and doing whatever they want. Yeah. So that scares them as well. Okay? And the chaos that they want, you said, if they can't win through transparent elections, they can buy it, they induce chaos so that they can declare state of emergency or whatever. They tried it in Masembe. They tried to start a fight so that we can just fall for that, and then they will say, oh, the elections, we cannot take place because in insecurity and violence. We are not fighting with you. We are going to fight with you at the polls, and we're going to beat you there. That's why we're going to thrash you. Not physically. We're not in for physical violence. We are in for free, fair, and transparent elections. We thrash them at the polls, and then we take our victory. So in Masembe, they tried to provoke us. They did everything. So they can sow that chaos that you mentioned very rightly. And we refused. And it's going to be the same thing in 2026. We're not going to start a chaos, we have to declare state of emergency. We're not falling for it. But beware, we will not turn the other cheek as well. So, that's it.
Those who say these are conspiracy theories, I laugh at them because they have no idea that most of what I have said on these three strategies is born out of what is called environmental scoping. It's a methodology to scope your environment for social, economic, political activities.
Yeah.
And these three stand out. When you look at the history of elections from 1992, you realize that these are the three methods that even during Jawara's time have been used, although in Jawara's case it is being used very discreetly below the radar. Jammeh has transformed it into a public thing, and Barrow has taken it to another level. So if you scope your environment, you do your analysis, you will come to the same conclusions. It's not conspiracy.
Yeah, no, it's planned meticulously, and they think they can get away with it because they're going to do it in 2021.
Yeah.
But 2021 was the last time they will get away with that. It won't happen again.
Yeah.
So even this registration they're doing, we will go to court to have those registrations brought out and vetted. And we will insist with the IEC to open a period where we can go to revising courts and look at those. Because those ID cards should be vetted. Who got them, under what conditions, do they deserve them or not? In fact, those ID cards should be invalidated if the IEC were to do its job.
Yeah.
Because they broke the law. They violated all our legal provisions on issuance of ID cards. They should not be allowed to stand. But these people get away with murder.
Yeah, and maybe
it's going to happen again.
Maybe even National Assembly members ought to call the Interior Minister and the Director General of Immigration to go to the floor to explain why this thing is happening, because it's in blatant violation of the Nationality Act.
Yeah.
Now the final thing, and then we go into Mandinka. We may go a little bit today. The final issue is the 2020 versus 2024 constitutions. The reason why we are talking about this today, we've been talking about it from the time the 2020 Barrow-Jallow draft was introduced, is to say you do not throw away the People's Constitution, which is the 2020 draft, and replace it with the Barrow-Jallow draft that is essentially going to create an imperial presidency. An imperial presidency is a civilized word for an authoritarian
Yes.
regime.
Yeah.
So we are saying we need to repeat that so that people can understand, because as we are talking, we are doing this program, there is a group of people going around the country pushing the Barrow Jalo constitution in the communities. And for me personally, I am hugely disappointed.
Yeah.
I've said it in my last appearance on Coffee Time. I'm going to say it here again. I'm hugely disappointed in the UNDP, the United Nations Development Program. Why am I hugely disappointed in UDP? UNDP, it's because for 23 years, I have devoted my life to the ideals and values of the UN system. And those ideals and values, UNDP was the custodian of them. What are those values? It is because UNDP is the UN system's focal point for democratization and good governance, and then sustainable development and all those other issues. But the primary mandate is governance and democratization. And to have UNDP supporting this 2024 constitution by putting billboards around this country, and is doing business with some civil society groups, and I think even the National Human Rights Commission is part of it. Yep. When they go to your communities, tell them to go away, let them bring your 2020 constitution to you. With UNDP, we have a way of communicating. And I think it behoves UNDP, the local office here, to engage all the political parties. And if they engage all the political parties, they must have heard from at least one or two political. There is a political party that is now drifting towards supporting 2024. But the main political opposition parties support the 2020, and we want it to come back. We don't want an authoritarian regime, especially one that is going to be codified by law. We don't need that. Mm-hmm. So the UNDP, as far as their involvement in the 2024, whatever involvement it is, because you hear people say, oh, but they are just supporting the rural version of the dissemination. But you are supporting a constitution that is going to be going against the grain of everything you stand for.
Exactly.
This is what UNDP is doing, and this is what we should speak about to tell UNDP to back off. Don't be doing what you are doing. Whether you are supporting the activity through financial resources or equipment or staff, stop it. It should not continue. Personally, I am going to be talking about this from now on. Every day, I'm going to talk about this thing until somebody in New York calls me to say what is going on. At that point, I will explain what is going on. But for starters, we need to let the people know, those who are going around the country now, asking them to support the 2024 Constitution, they are actually supporting an authoritarian document. They are actually telling you to support a document that is going to subjugate you legally. And we shouldn't accept that as Gambians.
And as you said, we're all terribly disappointed in UNDP. This is not what UNDP is known for. I mean, I just can't wrap my head around the idea that UNDP of all people will be supporting a constitution as bad as the 2024 Barrow draft. It just beats me. UNDP anywhere in Africa and in the world has been known for promoting governance, has been known for promoting democracy, has been known for promoting the rule of law. And now you turn around.
And respect for constitutionalism.
Exactly. This is part of the rule of law. And now you turn around and you support a constitution as bad as this. And you look us in the face and tell us, well, we're going to have a constitution of one sort, so let's just take this one and amend it. If you are really sincere to yourself, you should say, we've looked at both constitutions. We know that the 2020 draft is way, way better. They're not even in the same league. Let's take the 2020 draft and we work on that. That's what you should be saying. Not saying let's take the 2023-24 draft, which is not worth the paper it's typed on. Why do you want to support a constitution as bad as that? Because I would want to believe that they have at least read it.
Yep. Read both.
So if you know the 2024, even if you don't read 2020 yet, if you read 2024, you should say, is there anything better than this? And you find something.
There should be red flags.
So the 2024 draft exactly should raise red flags for anybody who has the desire to promote good governance, democracy, rule of law, etc. You cannot see that constitution with all the wrong provisions in there, which is going to turn Barrow, as you said, into an imperial president, and you still want us to adopt that constitution. And you go ahead and finance civil society organizations, which are also trying to promote that same constitution for God knows what reason. And these are young people in the Gambia, Gambians. Mm-hmm. Some of those people fought against Jammeh's reign in this country, and they are part of the Gambia have decided thing. And now they turn around without qualms and try to sell that same autocracy to us in another form. The autocracy you stood up against and you fought against in 2016. You see that same ugly beast rearing its ugly head, and you still want to support that. And you have no qualms about that?
And Lamin, excuse me, those who say, let us just support it, we can deal with it later. That's what was said about the 1997 Constitution. Everybody says, no, it's not a good constitution, but it's far better than this 2024.
Yeah.
Those who say, let us use the 97 Constitution and amend it as we go along, yes, it was amended 50 times.
52.
Yeah, 52 times by Jammeh.
Yeah.
And that is what created the dictatorship.
To make it worse.
To make it worse.
So this one has set up a dictatorship from the outset.
From the outset.
So if you amend that further, God, you know, I heard him the other day say, oh, Gambia is not difficult to sell. Well, people are making fun of him about that. I know he meant that the Gambia is not even difficult to sell in terms of its values and potential. Or even now, tourism potential. But now, it's probably wanting to sell the Gambia with this kind of constitution.
Yeah.
A president who has the gumption to bring to us a constitution like the 2024, which tells us that he has the right to appoint anybody he likes as vice president or minister, etc., and we wouldn't have a say in it. Who tells us that when he leaves, he can hand over to whoever he wants, who will run the country, who could be his wife, his sons, or kids, or whatever. He can hand over to anybody, and we wouldn't have a word to say in it. Who can steal whatever they want from the country, and when they leave, we cannot ask them any questions. There will be no accountability. They will do whatever they want, etc., etc., etc. Somebody who has the gumption to put it in a legal document, and the document of the highest order, our constitution. You put that in that, and you want to trust that person with your country? After all that they've done, we've seen all the corruption that has been going on in this country for the past 9 years. And we've seen every individual in that government, or should I say most individuals in that government, who are doing what? They are doing structural dependency for the country. They are doing things which are going to make us structurally dependent. Take away anything that is going to give us independence, that is going to give us accountability, they're taking them away. These are the people who are selling off all our strategic and other assets. So that we don't have any more money in this country, and all we can depend on is borrowing and taxes and loans and grants. So they are making us structurally dependent on the outside world. When we take our bridge and we mortgage it for peanuts, when we take our port and we give it away for peanuts, and we ask them to build another port for us, a port that we built with our tax dollars for decades, you give that away to somebody to say, manage it and give you 20%. Who in this country would build a house until it's okay, and then you give it to an estate manager, and tell him, okay, you rent the house, when you receive money from it, you take the 80% and give me 20%. A house that you build with your money. Why would you do that? And it's exactly the same thing for this port. We build the port with Gambian dollars, taxpayer money. And then you give it to Al-Berak and tell the manager, take 80% and give me 20%. Does that make any sense to anybody?
And what is in the financial share agreement? We don't know yet.
All of them will come back later. That's why, as we said, once this government changes, we'll see horrors coming out.
Yeah.
And these are the same people. I heard the Minister of Transport the other day say the airport is going to go because, you know, everybody's going that way. Everybody's going that way doesn't mean it's right. We have to keep our assets. These people are selling off all our assets to make us structurally dependent on the outside world, on their friends, to be able to do whatever they like with our money and our things, and we have nothing. So they just impoverish us. This is programmed and induced impoverishment of the Gambia and the Gambians. So you do all that you can to make us all poor, destitute Gambians. So we reduce us virtually to begging and to living on handouts from you. And you think that's the way you're going to control us.
To follow you like.
So if you make us so poor, we would have no choice but to come to you to beg for our subsistence and our survival. That's what you want. Well, the Gambians will not give you that. We have dignity. We will safeguard our honor. We will vote you out. Because we're not going to allow you to make us so dependent and so poor that we are at your mercy eternally. For just a small group of people, a couple of hundreds of people in this country will enslave and impoverish 2.5 million Gambians, and you think that will work? Gambians are going to stand up and fight back.
Yeah.
I have news for you.
Let's do a Reader's Digest version in Mandinka.
Okay.
And starting with the gala dinner. I'll let you.
Okay. The gala dinner. Min kata je wala man sakunda la kodo mi yara ko tolle nga jonna tax kodo na budget nga di department la ko sa ali nyinta le ban ko do kunya yo kodo ta ita tabulo sang NPP la fundraising o kodo man mat di pour ya di NPP la NPP political party like any other political party ni fa kodo ni fa fundraising la ita la fundraising ko mo na la party di na yo kodo di la je fine. But kamune je masakunda office won kanana ikanna tax korota kanaka di NPP ka tabulo sa tabulo do wuli kina fula min talu ke wafi won tabul kinem wuli kina fula min talu wala million ya 30 ya ci blana niti 1/4 o manyan na kala follow fulanja GRTS Gambia Radio and Television Services tata je yo fundraising ko from full head and father IBJ
Fosuto tema.
Well, we can sing on UDP wala opposition party dola kuto. Have you invited Bikanana? And then Beneke la Kodo Jo. You manke MPP la television odi. Gambia la television odi. So man never could be some MPP that matter in Dul Kovala. You know the Tanaji. Well, I did have in the front part of running GDC time from Tomalbe. But look at it. So fundraising a manyan la Kela Nyama. Na kodo mangana dila MPP la ani fananga moneje businessman no nata je ito gorgo na UDP ta wala GDC ta wala parti do nana je ko silata le ko dina to je masakunda be min la leka bari si wulita MPP tato e ko diba bondi ya di MPP la so no ko diba di MPP la ita ta bu sa wuli kema fula wuli talu wol ni man ma pour ko do di tan 5 ni o di la ba tarab la dole. So le fait que Dakar ka fu le ñam ni min di la je bala le fait le Dakar so le fait Dakar ka fu mo man ku no je ma sa ko ndane fe ko ha manu free market ten kuriya min bije ni ko do di la ka da ko do ka la le fait le Dakar fait da sel le do le men be ka do
wala na business o dol bije fay monopoly di la monopoly muneti tol damande ka fe mo dol nati min banko
ko le yamin bata ka fu
bato men bije na fo ñin programme to commande num fananko Mansakunda dollar 100 million keme dollar wala di company ta now wo company lu ni jibe ibeta tan galatol and ibe tablo sanne fana so banko le be wafikan nim president ya fa tubaw kan nim president ka nim banko wa fo man ko le atonyal aya wafile already because in businessman all the time banko. In businessman all 2018 ni mol hakilo bam yela duty free yela duty be wave ibuka duty jo mano tulo jabo foreigno ibuka duty jo and then to the best of my recollections hanibi obijele ikafengol nati ibuka duty jo par fengol da buka ji fengol da katu sel la drum hani sanso nada jita nada sel time banko ka buka ji kota
mbika ji jimba buka nasel
banko kota el kan ning world market price na lafata isi sanso da lafa na jita ye sanso da jin wo automatic transaction na wot bari banko kan nasel ta buka ji fen nasel ta buka ji so mol sa lonko ni lemma banko wa file already ya wafini businessman olam ni mol bita carte file salon ko wala bije secondly nyanta mol nyanta mel na wala nyinti ko nin masakunda dokulalu menu faram fansita ni gala dinato ibe masakunda la loi la tinyaka loi me ka fa GO 03104 wo GO ko ni mu masakunda dokulati masakunda la kela ila salary jo imanya na faram fansi ni la politiko kon isi party yo support bari foye de ikante la ralilto ibuka lo fanan ka fo kon tenen party kar le support molu menu tata nglat nga molu je director general ol bije commissioner general ol bije other civil servants bije GRTS ba sambaka live ñun be mu kuleti mi alonko e luala tinya imanya na kala bari na lona ni mo loi ko e data wot ka ko men beke loi data ko ko
ta represent ko ni ta register ko sa official ni ni ka ko te data political salon ko
opposition
ba ni ta ko ndi NPP la problème te wot muna ba yanta kala gambe dum be yanta kili wala solo bari sa yeno fo saya bantu gambe de wolle bul fo sonnale il ka continuer kan nyimma ke banko kan kan kuru yake ka fero ke pour kan be fuare yande kan be joyande fonde sonnal katun na kodo ndan kodo ni adi ran ko banko do ko wala e ka wolta ba dila NPP le be do sunyala do tinyab sa fonto gambe de sonnal fonde sonnawla nimma so wala 2026 be ta carte fayola ni bondi ni kuru yaay ba wala nyanta kala andu mar gambe de wolu batambala mo ka mo be yoro mo to fala moye so 2026 ngalon ko bi ta carte o fay bari min ka fa bi yawle hen kana fa batandi be ñu suñala le imagi ka id card ndi mo kanal nene mo kanal silandi 2026 ita suñano la na mo carte fa na man ko no carte o ba tala na ta carte o fay wallahi lo tumbu ira suñara mon plan na non sa fa la ñu kindulalo ini min tan fana wala alkana jikirate alkana sila alta carte fay 2026 ngoni bondi je carte la carte fay be bondi la je ita sunya noda mo ka sila de bi carte mo carte ko do textile ki la nyana do voice ki la nyana alkana ki tan ko ni beke ko alta si carte fay so alta carte fay ibe min tan la lon ne to lero ko to le minto lu ñu rew tabale do 2021 te fulan janna alta carte fay ñu bondi je 2026
na few minutes ke ñi Sénégal man la tiol di tamasa ko dalé ma ani bi mela ko do soto Gambia drone ñi ko sifa kake ye seno ke kar saba fo karnan yela sena fema samba ya di man sakunda e kayto dila amela ko do dila fabina sangosil ne nyindila dole wadama nyantatinna moliye nyini bonde nyindula e carte faye boje ID card ol fanan then I will give it to you ko wato bina bawal ID card ol yo male ngalone ko be ID card ol di kan bar ngalone fanan ko ibe luwale tinyaka iba di kan nyam and nyato demandi UDP be ku kelani kuotol ida na deputy interior minister anin director general immigration command yana kuma ko fo o ngata kiti wala ye ñing ID card ol di men la ya fintinte because intel jikita ko iba ke kan sunyar ko wal 2024 constitution o and in 2022 constitution o ño saba famotije bol be ko 2020 constitution wala mu mol la constitution 2024 constitution wala mu baroni jallo la constitution not ibe wala ñor kam moli molu menu be ko janjande kam banko kam nte fama la resiste la UNDP bijele National Human Rights Commission bijele Civil Society Group odol bijele nte UNDP yembum nungoni nyalaten because UN be kono UNDP le marata carte fayol ni loal ni mo la fenko la ha so no nata kanyin support nte mawoto faham an mbukara folale mbukar diamulal fo jannabina finally in 2024 draft on na tambita nana nga fo janne na fo koteke na fo dula dolt na tambita mandin kol ka fo me le mansale sindi albe baroke la mansati la kuyata le adiyata le luala karola asal mara anda bal mara la nyame wotuta tele katu fenfen atele ba bekel asinte la resise ta ay do ko dinna sama naman dia ay mbay nta kuno la asinta ay nominate yeta parliament sama na ninga carte of parliament kula memman dia simbay ay modo kije na ye fono na diata ala muso adino momo diata asa sainda moto ay weke molla president ala wala mu joyat ala ñun 2024 draft joya draft olem mol kane la moy ñun la fam nil tata je ni tata la sata wolte diamutalia li moy mo kana fitna ke mo kana fenke bara la fo ko alina 2020 draft or not because wala mun to la draft lami
ya la reben haban ba wato banta don ba kala su na sutendi don senelal la kodo karin nani karin luru be wulo kono sanjo be butele tilo be janele ko be ke ko be kije ni be yawol bije ni sal ni buntalol be bije yo do ko be ke feye bandi itere tesum bukata wafi masakunda ya muta ala kabi dolu manjo e mil dolu joko ta ki tv ke ki man yete la ko do taji itata taji do bondije e bindi la sero yo la di lañina ki ko fenti je kafta xanyantale bari to masakunda do ko yewol joka fu kemel tallu laka personnel la fere man fe lawka so c'est vrai na lon ko butum jumale yali hati yali jumale mali hati ni masa ko nabe mal hati ba min date sa kala yalla ko do muta do mun date nyame ni man sila alala man sila mole man sila carte fay sala tan dira to le sin 2026 ala carte fay ni bondije ko kana jikila tew ko ni kat ita sunya non ala carte fay ita sunya non ik ID card wala kam ko kana sunya roke carte la rek am folam fu sa wala be holbul election sunya wala ya san wala ni mo keno e fitino bonde don so na dole ita sunya wala ka to tebula ya sunya ngere sunya so lol ita tiyar keno la je ka san da fitina kala so alta carte fay ni bonde je 2026 na masakunda ko to sindije me kala yimbi masakunda te anyam banko sambanya la dole to fa ba wato banta sa to doron ID card ko no mon la ngaw kan ko de kanika bi card ku jmal ni bilbe kere mi le nganya nakala par ba wato en sole sa bla do science na amburna ko sila do inshallah.
Okay, viewers, Juberlalo, thank you very much. Allah baraka. Forward do malum foni molu bita salko la next week min be kala nyamal min be murlana al balo na min ta murlana al be fana lo na
but just next week lewoti next week fumi na fetina butumbo fala bar butumbo murlana ko tek
Allah baraka.